Back on Wyoming SportsLine tonight, I'm Jared Anderson. Our pleasure to go to the phones and welcome in Mitch Moss from AM 1100 ESPN Las Vegas. Mitch, I can't wait to get down there to Vegas for the conference tournament in a few days. How are things out that way?
Well, weather-wise, I don't blame you because things here have been great so far in the winter. We really haven't had that much of a winter, but on the court, as you probably know, not good. This was a top 5 or a top 10 recruiting class that Dave Rice brought in, and, well, let's just say they're 6-9 in conference play, and it hasn't been exactly roses for the Rebels.
Yeah, I think the rest of the conference, at least out this direction, kind of struggling to decide where UNLV's at right now. They look down this year, but then out of nowhere they pick up a quality win. Are Vegas fans as confused as we are?
Well, I'll tell you this, Jared, that anytime UNLV comes off of a loss, and it's been frequently this year, for example, the game on Tuesday in Utah, in Logan, Utah against Utah State, the Valley wants Rice's head. Anytime that there's a win, we get crickets. So I don't know. We're kind of speculating what that means. A lot of us think that it means that the fan base in general is convinced that he's not the guy for the job. I did actually see some optimism, believe it or not, after the game, looking ahead to next year, because as a team that's 15-13, 6-9 in conference play, you don't have a lot to look forward to this year. So of course fans have to look forward to beyond this, and they're really excited if Rice does stay for another year. If a lot of these guys decide to come back with the recruiting class you can have next year, their expectations are too high as far as I'm concerned. But they're excited about what the team could become in 2015, 2016.
Is there any optimism for this year, getting on a roll here with the conference tournament in Vegas, or has everybody just kind of let this season go and is looking ahead to next year?
In my opinion, no. There's no, because how often does this team actually win the conference tournament, which is on their home court? I mean, it is rare. Well, what's the last time? The Kevin Kruger team in 2007, or the year after that, 2008? I mean, it's here every single year, and they have had teams that have been much better than this. Talent-wise, I don't know if that's the case, but on the court and how they're coached and how they performed, this team certainly isn't even in the same conversation as past teams, and they rarely win it. So to me, the expectations are certainly not to win it. And I'll tell you, Jared, they're going to have to win the way it looks. That Fresno win the other night there against Wyoming certainly did not help out UNLV, because if they're going to end up as the 7th, maybe the 8th seed in this conference, then that means they're going to have to win 4 games in 4 days. That's not going to happen.
What is the buzz like out in Vegas about Wyoming? Is there much talk about the Cowboys? Are UNLV fans worried about this game tomorrow at all?
Oh, the game itself?
Yeah.
Certainly. And to be honest, what does a win mean to UNLV tomorrow night? I don't know what it means. I mean, do they want to stay above 500? If that's the case, then fine. Then a win would be nice. But at this point of the season, I don't understand what's the difference between a win and a loss for this team. They're 15-13. They're terrible. I'll say this about UNLV. They've shown fight the entire year, like where they have, if you just eliminate that Utah State 18-point loss on Tuesday, every game they've played in, other than the San Jose State game because they blew their doors off, every other game has been close down to the wire in conference play. I want to know how they're going to react after getting blown out in the second half against Utah State. It's the first time it's happened in conference play. So now at this point, when they know like they have to win probably 4 games in 4 days, how do they come out and react to Wyoming on Saturday? I honestly don't know how it's going to be, because you've been able to bank on this team coming out and playing, really well in first halves of games. They lose it in the second half for the most part. So I honestly don't know what to expect against Wyoming.
Does Christian Wood have to kind of be the guy that gets going if UNLV is going to be successful?
Yeah, especially with no Rashad Vaughn. And that's the thing about Wood. I mean, when you go back and if you check out the game-by-game stats he puts up, I mean, the guy's having a really good... The problem that people have with Chris Wood is the effort. And I don't know what it is, but if you watch him run up and down the court, the hustle is rarely there. He never goes 100 miles an hour. People have speculated because it's, he wants to look cool on the court. He wants to, he doesn't have to hustle if he doesn't want to. Rice is not going to do anything about it anyway. He's not going to sit him because he can't. But, that guy has shown a capability to go out there and get, that one game he had with 30 and 10, 15 rebounds, whatever it was. The guy's awesome when he wants to be. That's the problem. He doesn't appear like he wants to be all the time.
And then finally for you, Mitch, as we look ahead to this Wyoming UNLV game coming up Saturday, if you are looking at it from a Wyoming perspective and a team that's down a little bit right now and has to go on the road, what are some of the keys to beating this UNLV team on the road?
Just be patient offensively, because UNLV couldn't guard you or me. Their defense, now here's the misleading thing about UNLV, and they like to tell people this, is that when you look at overall defense in certain categories and amount of missed shots against this team this year and block shots, they rank highly in those categories. The problem is it's the primary defender or defenders have no chance. Cody Doolin off the dribble. Anybody can beat him off the dribble. That's why Chris Wood and Goodluck Okanobo have so many block shots this year. It's because the initial offense, they have no problem, whether it's guard play or whoever, getting by the defense on the perimeter is not a problem. It's uncanny to watch this team play defense, because it's one of the worst defensive teams I've ever seen here in Las Vegas, quite frankly. They're that bad. So if Wyoming, I would say, watch. Well, first of all, Wyoming scored 76 points the first time around, so they already know that. But watch what Colorado State did to UNLV on tape, or watch what Utah State did to them on tape offensively, and kind of just take bits and pieces of that, put it together as a game plan, and you'll be fine. I mean, this Wyoming shouldn't. I mean, as long as Nance is healthy, they can score 70 points on this team. Problem.
All right, he's Mitch Moss from AM 1100 ESPN Las Vegas. You can follow him at Mitch Moss Radio on Twitter, and encourage you to stream Gridlock weekdays. It's noon to 3 here in the Mountain Time Zone at ESPN1100.com. Mitch, anything else we need to know about how to follow you and the Rebels?
No, that pretty much says it all. Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it today.
We're wrapping up Wyoming SportsLine for the week. Next.